government of the people, by the people, and for the people that weren't living up to this name. And we have an opportunity here to save his burial site, which is up just above the meadows. It's part of what we would all call La Vina at one time. Back at that time it was called Las Casitas, I believe. And so it's really nice that some Altadinans could come out and pay their respects to a man, famous abolitionist, famous part of a famous family. So I really do appreciate you guys came out tonight to do this. I don't know if Lori has anything to say.
He was an interesting character because after being one of the few survivors of the ill-fated raid on Harper's Ferry, he had to covertly, with companions, some of whom were captured along the way, make his way all the way to relatives here in California. Jason and his sister Ruth were here. And he came to California because, of course, that was not a state and didn't have extradition. He was afraid of the bounty hunters coming for him with the price on his head, so he walked around Pasadena with a 6-shooter on his hip for the rest of his life. Local people looked out for him. He was respected by the minority community here, the white community, and even the Confederate community here. And it was amazing that when he he became ill in his 60s, and walking home late from a meeting at his sister's house, he caught typhoid pneumonia. And as you probably know, that's fairly contagious. So that means they want to bury you right away. They don't let you lay around. And so his funeral was 2 days after his passing, and in spite of the short notice, well over 2,000 people of Hispanic, Black, white, all sorts of diverse populations in the area came, and that was a phenomenal turnout with a candlelit procession up to the little round top where the actual grave is, because back then the population of even Los Angeles was a small pueblo. So he was an honored member of the community at that time, and with his passing, basically the entire community turned out to honor him.
I spent a lot of time looking for music. John Brown's body's been done so many times, and there's a big argument about, what came first, the chicken or the egg. But John Brown's body was original. It was from a call of meeting, church meeting song back in the early 1800s. And it was from this song and hearing these words that the Battle Hymn of the Republic the words were written. And if you actually look at the words, which I can supply when we go back to the meeting, you'll see that this woman, Julia Stowe-Howe, I believe her name is, she witnessed the troops singing this song and marching for the Civil War. She witnessed the fire she talks about, and when she talks about the swift sword, she's talking about John Brown. And so while I look for these songs, the one thing I found that was really fascinating, I don't know if I can get this to play for you because I'm just not as good at this as I should be. Well, let's see if I can. I found a jazz tune that's right now current.
John Brown.
And it's all about John Brown. It tells the whole history in like 4 minutes. And it's current, and it's off a protest album by a gentleman named Mark Rubel. So it's really a great song. And the words, I can also give you that, and you can look it up. Because it's great to hear contemporary music where these people are not forgotten.
And we could also mention that Brown Mountain is named after John Brown.
The brothers got the mountain named Brown.
Yeah, we can't quite hear it. Is that
You
the
can't
next
hear
one?
this, but it's good. People of Missouri thought John Brown was insane. But meanwhile, in their backyards, they had human beings in chairs. I mean, this guy's just nailed it with his words.
You can wear such a common name for such an exemplary person.
It is, isn't it? Well, interesting, there's a lot of Browns in Altadena. I don't know if they're related because, these two brothers did not have children, but Mary Brown, who John Brown's second wife, actually moved here and lived here for a while. I don't know, ultimately, I think she went to Orange County or something, but San Diego maybe.
And I think between his 2 wives, he had over 20 children. There's plenty of John Brown descendants.
So this is John Brown rose up early in the morning before the sun would rise. He had 200 rifles riding by his side. He said, "Now don't you weep now, Mary. Don't you weep for me. Going down to Harper's Ferry, raid the U.S. Armory." I mean, this guy is just amazing. Can you imagine this was written last year?
Wow.
So This guy, they want him to live in infamy, but he doesn't. And I hope Altadena goes out of their way to make him a patriot, that he deserves to be and recognize him that way. So maybe people like us can spread the word.
It's nice that they have this stone, this mock-up or replica.
Yeah, this replica is great.
it's
I
cool.
mean,
It's a good place for
Altadena
it.
Heritage was really wise to put that effort into this park. I know David Mosher was part of that. And Michelle Zach was going to be here to talk tonight, which unfortunately you're stuck with me, although Lori is really good at it. But Michelle was going to talk tonight, but she has the flu, so we're glad she didn't come, and hopefully she gets better
I hope
soon.
she gets better soon.
But I guess that's pretty much it, unless anybody else would like to.
If anyone's got the opportunity to go to visit Harper's Ferry, it's quite an inspirational place. The government was shut down. We walked around, read the various plaques, and we stopped by the Kennedy House,
The Kennedy Farm,
Kennedy Farm, which is where
they, unknowing of the purpose, rented out a house to John Brown, and it's a very small house in which, I don't know, something over 20 people
Probably,
lived
yeah.
in
I think they
a
said
whole bunch of
they were
weapons
prospectors.
leading up to the raid.
Lori, I have a question. That picture that you always see of their cabin that had like the braces attached to it.
Right.
Is that where the man lives that tumbled that over?
No.
Just north of the little round
No, it
top?
isn't. It's-
Where was that location?
That's further south, and it's on Theo Clark's property there. There's also a small reservoir by Lincoln Avenue Water Company.
So it's just due
It's at the-
south of Little Round Top,
It's
where that cabin used to be located?
I would have said it was east.
it was east.
Oh, east of there.
It's east, and it's
Off of what street?
it's at the end of El Freda.
No, it's the very end of Rising.
I'm sorry, Rising Hill.
Right.
The trailhead is at the end of El Freda.
The cabin is not still there.
No, I know that, but
Yeah.
there somebody
There's a
else's
cabin
house. Is there
here
somebody's
where-
house there?
Those Clarks
Or is
right on
it
the
in the
site.
national forest?
No,
No,
Clarks.
it's just a blank area that's in front of the house that's below a small ridge. It's an area that's kind of a driveway now.
There are two houses there, but neither of those
It's on the side of the cabin.
were
So it's on somebody's private property, that
Right.
location.
So if you don't know, but I think this whole group knows that we've been able to protect and secure the Owen Brown gravesite through the Lavinia development. And when they do Lavinia 2 and add 18 homes, part of that conditions of approval was an agreement with the community to secure the land, which has already been done, donate it to a conservancy, and then add some additional funding to help care for it, take care of historic preservation, and also to educate local schools about the importance of the abolitionists and the importance of a very, very famous Altadena son. And so we're looking forward to spreading a news story and clearing their name once and for all. And there's people on the East Coast right now. One gentleman's written a book about one of their compatriots in Kansas, this gentleman, William Coffin, and then I'm done. And they are actually seeking now to get his treason overturned and change his trajectory. So that's fascinating too. That's going on right now as well.
It's significant to note, though, that the black community has been aware of Owen Brown's grave for some time. When we moved here in 1994, and I hiked up there, it happened to be around this time, and there was a small black woman in high-top black shoes, an elderly lady with a veil, and she came up there to lay a dozen red roses on Owen Brown's gravestone, which was still there, and there were already carnations laid on the grave. So it's not as if he had dropped completely from memory, but now we're bringing him more to the general population's attention.
But I think Rob probably needs to call the meeting back, and we'll head over there as
So
well.
we're due back at 7:40, which is a few minutes from now.